Hi, it's Steve. Today we're going to show you how to change the door bellows on your front load washer. That's a really easy job. All we're going to need is a small flat blade screwdriver, a pair of slip joint pliers, a pair of needle nose pliers, and 2 or 3 of these spring clamps. Let me show you how we do it. Now before we begin this repair, the first thing we'll need to do is to disconnect power to the washer. So simply pull the plug. Now to change the door bellows, we can do that all through the door opening. So we'll begin by opening up the door, and there is a band that goes around this door bellows that attaches the bellows to the front panel. And on the bottom of it there will be a spring. So using a flat blade screwdriver, we'll go in behind that spring and pop that off. Now if your model does not have that band and spring on it, it will be a glued on type, and you'll need to take a razor blade and go all the way around the edge and cut that glue and then peel it off. So take our flat blade screwdriver, locate that spring on the bottom, just push the screwdriver in behind it, release it, and you can pull that off. Then we can simply peel back that bellows from the front panel. And just tuck it into the opening. Now next we'll locate a clamp that is attaching that bellows to the inlet from the dispenser. We'll need to twist that clamp with a pair of pliers to release it. Now to aid in the removal and replacement of that bellows, we suggest that you push the tub towards the back of the washer and then take a 2x4 block and slide it in between the front counterweight and the cabinet, and that will hold that back far enough that we can get at the perimeter of that bellows. Now next, we'll peel back that bellows around this inlet tube. We're going to take our pliers and just twist this wire clamp Now with that clamp released, you can slide that completely off of the bellows. Then set that aside. We will be reusing it. And then just carefully peel that off of that inlet tube. You can then push the rest of the bellows down into the tub. Now there is a spring clamp that goes all the way around that perimeter that holds the bellows to the outer tub. And to remove it, we're going to get a good grip on that bellows, and then we're going to just pull straight down. And the spring will pop off. We'll set that aside because we will be reusing that. And then just peel the old bellows out and discard it. Now when installing the new bellows, we'll first of all locate the top center of it, the 12 o'clock position, and there's a little tab that will indicate that. And that will line up with the tab on the outer tub cover. And we also need to remember that that spring will lay in this channel right here. And if we peel this back, this is the portion of the bellows that has to fit into that groove on the tub. Now to aid in putting that on, because that rubber is fairly sticky, we'll take a little bit of dish detergent and we'll smear some all the way around that groove. And not too much that it won't stay in place, but enough to aid us putting it in. Now once we've got a bit of that now once we've put some of that dish detergent in that groove, we'll next want to dry our hands completely. So we'll begin by making sure that we have that center lined up, and then we're just going to roll back the lip of that bellows. And one hand inside the bellows and one outside, and just carefully work our way all the way around the tub. We need to make sure that is fully inserted into that lip on the tub. Now that we've got the bellows seated up against the tub, we'll next have to reinstall that spring. So what we'll do is we'll start at the top, and then we'll fit that spring down into that groove. Then we're going to take one of these spacers that came with the kit, and we'll force that in on top of the actual spring to hold it into the groove. So making sure the spring is laying down in there, just a little bit right of 12 o'clock, we'll push that spacer down in there to hold it in place. And now we have that retainer spacer in place. This is where we'll use our clamp. So tuck that bellows down into the tub, open your clamp up completely, and then get it right on top of that spacer just to make sure it doesn't pop out on us. So there will be a fair bit of tension on this spring. So next we'll stretch it around to about the 3 o'clock position, and then we'll pop in another one of those retainers. Now with the top spacer clamped in place, we'll next take that spring and we're just going to stretch that around the bellows till about the 3 o'clock position, and then we'll push in another spacer. And again, we'll attach a clamp to it to secure it. And we'll just take that spring, and again, we'll pull it, stretch it all the way down to the 6 o'clock position. Take another spacer. Press that into position, and again we'll put a clamp over top of that to hold it there. Now all that remains is to put the spring along the back side. So just stretch that evenly all the way around. Make sure that it stays down in that channel. Now once you've verified that it's in place all the way around, we can then remove the clamps. And then we can pick those 3 spacers out, and you'll probably need your needle nose pliers to do that. I find it easier if you can kind of stand them on end and then pluck them out of there. Now our next step will be to fit this opening over the fill spout from the dispenser, and we'll need to make sure that that little channel is beyond that ridge, because that's where the clamp will sit. So we'll take our clamp, just open that up enough that we can spread it and slide it into position. And then using our pliers, we'll twist that so that the 2 ends will lock together. Now that we have that firmly attached to the dispenser inlet, we'll next pull our spacer block out, and then we'll pull the bellows out through the opening, and then we're going to wrap that little V portion into that groove on the front panel. We need to do that all the way around. Now if your previous bellows was the glue-on type, you really need to make sure that we don't have any of that adhesive in the way that will interfere with the fit of our new bellows. Now make sure that bellows lays flush against the front panel, and then we'll put the new spring in place. And again, we want to try to keep that spring in the 6 o'clock position. So we'll start by laying the one end of that clamp in that groove. And then we'll take a pair of needle nose pliers and we're just going to stretch that spring, and we'll keep it flush as we can with the front panel until the clamp drops in all the way around. Make sure it's nice and snug, and then we can close up the door. We're now ready to reconnect the power, and our repair is complete.